is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. Today's video is titled Midnight to Red Dawn, Marching Towards War. Before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God has given me as it relates to crypto. Now, let's get into the video. So I want to start by going back, recapping something that I shared in 2024. I talked a little bit about in 2025 as it relates to what I'm calling, just for the sake of this video, mini casket with backwards flag dream. I had this dream on June 28th, 2024, and it is a segment or a small part of my Tupac dream that I had. And in this dream, I saw a lot of different things. And one of the things that I saw was a mini casket that was covered with a mini flag, and that flag was backwards. After doing my research, I come to find out that a backwards flag represents marching towards war. And this flag was a United States of America flag. Again, I shared this in several videos last year and also the year before. And so the message that I received from this is that the U.S. is marching towards war. Now, because I saw a mini casket and because I saw a mini flag, I shared that I concluded that this would have to do with a small war or a short war. Again, I had this dream in 2024, and then in 2025, around March 21st or 22nd, I had this dream about looking up into the sky, and I saw hundreds of parachutes, people parachuting down to the ground, and on their parachutes, I saw Iranian flags. And this is the video where I originally shared this dream about these parachutes, titled The Invasion and a Fallen Liberty. Again, that dream was in March of last year. And then in April of last year, where I woke up hearing the name Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen. I'm like, who is Charlie Sheen? And so when I did my research, I found out that Charlie Sheen was someone that I knew by face, but not necessarily by name. And after looking into Charlie Sheen, I saw that he was in a movie titled Red Dawn. Now, Red Dawn, if you have not seen it, in the beginning of the movie, there is a big scene. And this scene out of this movie reminds me of what I saw in my dream with the Iranian parachutes and the people parachuting down. Again, this movie is titled Red Dawn. If you have not seen it, if you want to, I guess, YouTube Red Dawn, that opening scene with the parachutes. When I saw this movie and when I was told about this movie and the parachutes and how what I was describing in my dream was what was a scene out of this movie, I had to watch this movie. I had to see it for myself. And sure enough, that opening scene reminded me of what I saw in my dream, minus the Iranian flags that were on each of those parachutes. Again, there were like hundreds of people just all over the sky coming down in my dream. And here's another picture. And if you were to Google Red Dawn, a lot of the pictures pertaining to this movie has those parachutes coming down, because again, that was a big scene out of that movie. So now what we have is a dream in 2024 about the U.S. marching towards war, seeing that mini casket, backwards mini flag, United States flag, representing the U.S. is marching towards a small or short war. And then in 2025, I had the Iranian parachute dream, which for me interprets as invasion, because that's what was taking place in this movie, Red Dawn. And then, of course, we have Charlie Sheen. So April concluded those dreams, April 2025. And then in June, on June 22nd, 2025, we had what was called Operation Midnight Hammer. And this operation had to do with the U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear sites. And after these strikes, a ceasefire would end the war in which, again, the U.S. was directly involved. And this is what we hear Trump calling the 12-day war. The 12-day war that did directly involve the U.S. Being involved with the war with Israel and Iran. And after hearing this being called the 12-day war, I immediately connected this to the backwards flag, the mini casket, mini, small, or short war. Again, this was June 13th through the 24th, 2025. So going back here, for me, we can check off this short war. However, this still leaves the dream about the Iranian parachutes. And this year in 2026, this took place. We all know about the Super Bowl that happened on February the 8th, Super Bowl 60. And when we think Super Bowl 60, we think Bad Bunny. And I saw this article after the Super Bowl game. And this article says, Charlie Sheen sounded off on Bad Bunny performing at Super Bowl 60 months before controversy. When I saw Charlie Sheen, I immediately thought Iranian flag, the parachutes, Red Dawn, and I knew that there had to be more to come as far as Iran goes. And so when I began to do my research on talks and negotiation, what has been taking place with Iran and the U.S. just this year. I know we just get into this year, but what has happened so far? I have not been following this. I have been focusing more on crypto with Luna and BNB Tiger and other different things outside of war. And so based on my research, I found out that there were negotiations that have taken place this year only twice, February the 6th and February the 17th. So just recently. And I guess things haven't been going so well, maybe, because I saw this article just recently. As Trump marches U.S. towards Iran war. When I read just that alone, I immediately thought about the backwards flag. Trump marches U.S. towards war, Iran war. Now, this article goes on to say massive war in Iran. However, if something like this was to take place, again, I have to, ask God, Lord, is this going to be another small war like last year? Or will this be something beyond a small war state since we've already seen it? Are we indeed looking at something that would be massive this time? So since the Super Bowl, this thought about Red Dawn has come up again because of this Charlie Sheen article talking about the Super Bowl. And again, my interpretation of this dream about these Iranian parachutes coming down was invasion. So I don't know what is going to unfold. I'm just resharing again, recapping and giving you guys what is new based on the old. And we have to continue to pray about all of this as far as war and other countries and us being involved and how that's going to affect us, those of us who have family members in the military. So I'm praying that this is a nothing burger, that nothing comes out of this. I'd much rather not see an invasion or Red Dawn experience or anything to that nature. After that 12-day war ended, I had a big sigh of relief. But I don't know. I don't know how this is going to turn out. Let's continue to pray, fast about these things. But so far, all I'm seeing is what's happening now with Trump. And like that article said, marching the U.S. towards war. And that was a 2-year ago dream. And yet here we are seeing articles pertaining to that. That is all that I have for this video. Until the next one, God bless.